I think we're streaming. Should be streaming. So, yeah, coming up in 4 or 5 minutes time, people. If you want to, I don't know, fast forward a bit. If you're watching an archive version, in 4 minutes. 4 minutes time. There you go. Hey Piers! Oh, hold on. Hey Piers! Oh, Piers! Oh, blimey. Hold on. What's going on there? Oh, that's what's going on. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, bit of loop back. Hey! Good evening, gentlemen. Wow, blimey, it's already busy in here. Boozy, Jay, and Garnham in the house. Good evening, gentlemen. Can you all hear us, each other?
Yeah.
I can hear that. Yeah, I can hear them.
Oh, it's going to be a riot tonight. Viscount's on the way, I understand. Hey folks, good evening, good people, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And welcome to the Daily Chaos. Auto add KO, know what I mean? Yeah, I'm Olly Connelly, thanks for turning up. And now, popcorn! Yeah, it's just a popcorn show, you know, chewing over the cud, all that, whatever. Crew Chaos, waxes, lyrical, satirical, political, esoterical. Right here, right now, Thursday night stuff. Yeah, without Piers Garnham, popped in, God bless him, can only make Thursdays, domestic stuff.
Hi, how you doing?
We got Boozy, Chris Booty, gonna tell us all about that Chop Chaz zone, which apparently has all been wound up now, because Mayor Dunkin' Donuts decided it wasn't such a good idea after all.
There's a new one in New York.
There's a new one? Oh, you'll have to tell us about that in a sec. Give us the comedy.
Oh no, it's absolutely hilarious what happened.
Oh, Boozy. Hold on, hold fire. And we got Jay Carey, downliner. Yeah, God bless him. Gonna tell us a bit about what's going on with the new site, man. dailychaos.news.
Hello, Olly.
Hey,
And we got Rodders just popped in, the Viscount. He's probably sat on the bog as usual in Viscount Castle or whatever it is. So, yeah, it's a busy night. I'm just going to shut up. I've got some whining on the go, you know what I mean? Right, okay. God bless you, gentlemen, one and all. Going to start with Piers, because, bless him, it's good to know that he's allowed out to play with the lads. How are you, Piers, man? I haven't spoken to you since last Thursday.
Indeed. Yeah, well, I'm good. Thanks very much. I've been doing a lot of running and trying to drink less at home. So I've kind of almost cut booze out of the recipe at home. So the desire to go out all the time is almost overwhelming. Although tonight I have succumbed and I do have an ale with me while we
good for you.
show. But yeah, no, I'm losing weight. I'm shedding the pounds a bit. You know, getting the old tum down in scale a bit. Because
that's been an issue, hasn't it? It's been an issue. I guess a lot of people have been binge eating during this coronavirus thing and not going to the gym and all that.
Yeah, well, I'm doing 4 miles a day at the moment. I've done 20 miles this week already. So I'm feeling quite fit and yeah.
Commendable.
It's all good, yeah.
I saw a story, just a headline, that reckoned, and it makes sense. And it's another sad, I mean, this poverty pandemic that is a bit more guaranteed than the COVID-19 pandemic, it seems to me. You know, that's very, very nasty in many cases, but I don't know about pandemic. But this poverty pandemic, one thing to suggest that they reckon that 25% of gym subscriptions are just going to fly out the window.
Well, I've cancelled my Virgin Active subscription, so
really,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's
Boris
sort
is
of,
getting.
It just didn't seem
Branson.
any longer.
He's getting hammered.
Yeah, fuck Branson. Sorry.
Couldn't happen to a nicer person.
We can only swear in more than 3 syllables or in Latin. That's the new rule.
Okay. How about Greek? Malaka.
Oh yeah, Greek perfect.
And I use Persian swearing.
Yes, as long as basically
French,
nobody understands it, it's fine.
Mad.
Oh,
Shyster.
and while it might be good for the rest of us, I've got the Viscount muted.
Yeah.
Potters, you need to unmute yourself.
That's probably just as well.
He needs to unmute himself. He's probably working out where the loo roll is at the moment.
Say, hats off. I thought you could hear me. I think 4 miles a day of horizontal jogging is a bloody good show.
Yeah.
Good to be British.
Yeah, so do I.
If only that were the case.
You're losing all this weight at home, aren't you? You're not going to the gym. You cancel.
I do 4 miles in the supermarket.
I know.
That's the cue.
Oh, have you noticed that you've got that thing in your phone that measures how many steps you've done, and you come out of the supermarket, it says you've done 10,000 steps.
That's one hell of a big supermarket you go to.
Well, I had one of the jobs that they had me do for doing security. It was basically mall copping, and I looked at.
Did you have to segue?
No, on foot. And I looked at my 8-hour shift, and I looked at my my app that counts my steps, and it had me at 15 mile. I was like, screw that. Good
Blimey.
job this wasn't a constant job.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's the
What
thing,
about you, Mike?
if you're occupied, you don't really notice that you're doing that many steps.
Oh, I noticed it. It was my feet. My feet was blistered.
I just do this show and try to work out the tech. That keeps the weight off me, I'll tell you. So Viscount lost a lot of weight during this thing. Hey, Piers, go on.
And the constant nagging from your missus.
Oh yeah, that is.
We're all married, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I've got to say very quickly, Piers, I was very disappointed by your response, because I would love the lady to say, "Oh, how you spoil us, Ambassador."
Yeah.
But it's an absolutely, it's a real thing. It's a chap, a very dear friend of mine, who sits on the council of Boston City, and a great mate of hers used to be a banker until he got fired, made redundant, and he set up an online sex toy business product. I thought this is just too good to be true. So I invited Olly and Piers to become ambassadors for the online sex toy. And unfortunately, you both declined. But we ought to get the chap on the show.
No, I didn't decline. I said get him on. This is the guy that makes sex toys, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
No, we've got to get him on. I want to ask him, off the back of chats with Simon Richards last night, who was talking about sex bots and how society is going to be in a situation where we're all socializing with sex bots, not with partners, human partners, within about 5 years. And I find that fascinating. Get the sex dildo bloke on. We got to talk to him. We got to find out.
True. That's
are
true.
we all
Yeah,
going to
you
be
don't have to
turning
sit
into
down and watch a movie with them afterwards. So,
Well, I tell you, did I?
No, Bridget Jones.
Story
Hold on. One at a time. Rodders, go on. Oh.
You can watch what you can watch. We can watch what you want, and she can watch it with you.
Yeah.
Blimey. I don't know. What
Alexa.
I want to watch.
And she can't have a headache.
Okay, let's look. What is going on then? Where are we now? First of all, Piers, maybe you'd care to tell us what is the deal?
Go with the main news today. The main news today. We know what new main news.
There's good headline today. Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. Apparently.
Really?
By the FBI.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Olly, you're supposed to be up on the news.
Now, but I'm always at the moment buried in code, getting this site sorted and all that.
It's all over mainstream.
It broke this afternoon.
Is it?
Apparently, she wasn't in Paris any longer. Perhaps she was being. Maybe she was there and managed to get herself out, but she ended up back in the States and then got arrested by the FBI.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, she was arrested last night.
Now, one at a time. One at a time. Piers, go on. Give us the backstory of this then. One at a time, gents.
Well, I don't know much. I haven't read up on it, but I think she was caught. Where was she caught? In Wisconsin?
New Hampshire.
What was she doing back in America?
No, Ghislaine, which is the correct pronunciation of her name.
Ghislaine.
I hate it when you get these pompous words. You say the correct pronunciation is Ghislaine, and it's like it's an Englishman's right to pronounce any foreign word as he chooses.
Quite right.
As far as I'm concerned, it's called Ghislaine, and she's arrested in New Hampshire.
She liked a bit of jizz.
In New Hampshire, and she's actually been. So actually, they've gone. It's not just an arrest. She has been charged on 6 counts of trafficking underage children.
Yeah, I've got the indictment form, the indictment papers.
Oh, go on. Read them out, Jay. Well. Read a bit of it out.
Well, you keep talking for a minute. I'll open them. Just hold
on. Well, look, I'll give you the gist here. Yeah.
The thing is,
hold on, Chris. Hold on. Whoa. No, let's not talk. I'm going to give you the gist. Newser.com. Yeah. FBI nabs Ghislaine, whatever. in New Hampshire on charges related to Epstein. This is according to Newser.com. Jeffrey Epstein confidant Ghislaine Maxwell has kept an extremely low profile since his arrest and suicide, stroke Arkanside. But NBC News reports that her whereabouts are now known. She's under arrest in New Hampshire. The network says the FBI arrested Maxwell on crimes related to Epstein. ABC News confirms the arrest, noting that it comes almost precisely a year after Epstein's own arrest, and says Maxwell will make a virtual appearance in federal court later Thursday. Wow! Whoa! That is very, very exciting.
It says that the charges set forth herein stem from the role of Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine Maxwell, the defendant, in the sexual exploitation and abuse of multiple minor girls by Jeffrey Epstein. In particular, from at least in or about 1994 up to and including at least in or about 1997, Maxwell assisted, facilitated and contributed to Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of minor girls by...
She's a sex slaver, allegedly.
Among other things, helping Epstein to recruit, groom and ultimately abuse victims known to Maxwell and Epstein to be under the age of 18.
But this is going to cause problems because, let's face it, probably a Mossad agent, and so was Epstein. They were working for, they were working for Mossad. So is that all going to come out, or is she going to try and hide that, or how are the feds going to deal with this?
Here's what we can all do now that we're all in the same room together.
Oh, blimey! Your audio is terrible, Rod. Go on.
Is given that we're all in the same room together, why don't we have a sweepstake on... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, on whether she gets killed.
Why did we have... No. Is how many days are going to elapse before she got herself?
You're in Mayfair, aren't you?
You're a bank.
Aren't you in Mayfair, Rodgers? How's your internet so bad?
So
he's not. He's at Rodders Castle up in Rodershire. But he's consigned to the bog by his mother-in-law. He's only allowed to do the show from the bog, which is apt when you consider the subject matter.
Your Wi-Fi is terrible.
You can use that
it is.
when Ghislaine comes round.
Rodders, listen, do us a favour, mate. Shut down your computer and come back in, because it's intolerable, mate. We've got to have decent audio for a decent show.
Okay.
Good man. This is a huge story, is it not?
Hold it. Let's stop. I'll stop for a minute. Right, go on, Ollie.
This is a massive story. I mean, what we've got here is we've got, as Piers suggested, Ghislaine Maxwell involved with all this Epstein business. And if you look at his black book, which is available online, in fact, you know what? We've got to get that in the forum at dailychaos.news, Jay. We've got to get it in there. It's on Scribd. It's on Scribd. Check it out. The Black Book, if you sieve through there, which I did, by the way, when it was released by, I think it was the Daily Beast that put that out in the first place. It's just a who's who of politics, international politics. Not just to people like, Prince Andrew with his 16 entries or whatever, and Fergie with a similar number of entries, so about 30 between the two of them. Not just them, though. Israeli prime ministers, hence possibly this Mossad link. Peter Mandelson, Oi, hey, Mandy, how you doing? Come on the show. Never mind you wanting to be head of the WTO. Come and tell us about those 11 entries in that black book, in Epstein's black book, including Peter's direct line and one for Ronaldo. Tony Blair's in there. Alistair Campbell.
Quite a list of
all
usual suspects.
Names that the BBC and all of the fake stream media never associate with Epstein. It's about time they did. Andrew actually hasn't got any power. These people are trying to stop Brexit.
Yeah, so let's take a wager on how long we think she's going to live. I mean, I think a week.
This is the thing. From what you can see, though, she's got Epstein is small fry in comparison to her, because Epstein may have been the one whose island it was and was doing the abusing, but she was the fixer. She was the one doing everything behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So
she was his handler, wasn't she?
She's doing well. Think about it. Do you when you're prosecuting sexual offences, who are the ones you go after more? Do you go after the Johns who are using? Do you go after the prostitutes? Or do you go after the pimps and the madams? You go after the pimps and the madams. Because they're the ones who are actually doing where it's a greater offence.
But it's easier to commit a crime, isn't it? It's easier to commit a crime if all the property is put in the name of the stooge.
Well, this is the thing. When you look at the indictments against her, you've got one of the indictments is conspiracy to entice minors to engage in illegal sexual activity. The other is conspiracy to transport minors to engage in illegal sexual activity.
By the way,
there is also transportation of minors for sexual activity and perjury, because she gave evidence because she was questioned in relation to Epstein, and she said, "I don't know a damn thing about what you're talking about. You're talking rot." So she lied when questioned first time. So they've also got her on a perjury. Now the interesting bit is with all these trafficking crimes, i.e. the transportation crime, those crimes, Trump's executive order in relation to child sex exploitation, child sex trafficking, stated that if you had more than one count of this sort of stuff, it was a default capital punishment with the death penalty.
Yep.
So
do you think?
If she's prosecuted, she's going to die before she gives evidence, or she's going to die on conviction. It's one of the two.
Okay, this is curious
she's
timing.
Living on borrowed time. So
Chris, hold on. Chris, I'm producing this show. Please, we have to have a producer because otherwise it's a madhouse. I want to know, moving this on slightly, is this good timing for Donald Trump and election 2020? Rodders, what do you say about that?
Rodders, you're going to have to unmute, mate. Unmute your mic.
Well,
I
Piers,
find it strange.
While he does, Piers, give us your take on that, please.
Well, I mean, it's anybody's guess how this is going to play out. Obviously, there are lots of very powerful people who don't want this woman to start talking. I mean, it's politically sensitive because the likelihood. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was a Mossad agent, and that the daughter followed suit. And I think Chris is probably right in the sense that he's saying that she was the main individual organising all of this, and Jeffrey was just somebody convenient that they could help financially get him set up. I mean, it was his predilection anyway. Plus, he liked the big parties and the social life and mixing with the rich and powerful. So, the two of them combined were a force.
I've got a cunning plan.
No.
I think
Rodders has got a cunning plan. Rodders, you sound as though you're down the U-bend. Can you at least, please, if you have to be in an echo chamber during this show, sounding dreadful, by the way,
Baldrick's got a cunning plan.
Would you let me finish? Would you please get closer to your microphone?
Oh, is that better?
Yes.
Well, it's can't be
now,
worse.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, look. Funny enough, I know both Kevin and Ian Maxwell,
Better.
Ian is an absolute turd through and through, and I hope never to see him again. But Kevin, actually, he's quite a humorous cove, and he is a very loyal chap, quite eccentric, as you'd imagine. And why don't we get him on the show to defend his chizzy?
Be brilliant, be fantastic.
And
fantastic.
For business purposes, he needs as much publicity as he can get. And I think he should be an ambassador for the online sex toy shop.
Oh yeah, that would work, wouldn't it? That would go well.
He tried to sell me his house in Henley, and it was like something out of, I don't know, Footballers' Wives, but on steroids. And but again, he's got a good sense of humour, and he doesn't take himself too seriously. And anything he can do to come to Jizz's defence, he would. And he's a very intelligent guy. His academic record is superb. But the funny thing is, when you speak to Kevin about his father, Robert, and I agree with him, what Robert Maxwell did, by today's standards, was not criminal. What he did is he made no personal benefit. And I didn't like Robert Maxwell, a socialist, champagne socialist bully. But what he did in city terms, in actual fact, was not an abuse. He did not steal from the pension funds. He was entitled to invest pension fund money in publicly quoted shares, and Maxwell Communication Corporation was certainly eligible. And the banker at the time, who was also a main board director, was Sir Michael Richardson, a director of NM Rothschild, who was also a senior advisor to Margaret Thatcher. And in actual fact, it was Michael Richardson who, in front of Dennis, said, "As soon as Dennis dies, don't worry, Dennis, I'll be looking after your wife." So, I mean, the hypocrisy that exists when people start pointing fingers and making accusations. And the first person to jump out, because don't forget, he nearly went to prison, dear old Kevin Maxwell. And I ought to give him a call and say, "Kevin, now that your sister's been nabbed, do you want to come and join us on a freedom of speech platform? So you won't be censored. You can say what you like as long as you only swear in Latin." And he, by the way, he does speak Latin. He doesn't have to make up the Boloxai Cumus Est words that I do.
But besides all that, Rodri,
you were hold on, don't stop him. He was about to plug dailychaos.news.
Oh, okay.
I was actually, and the Daily Chaos is a freedom of speech platform, and this is what we've been discussing jointly over the last few days, where you can. By the way, Ollie, I called your bluff by sending you some rather strong material, and I hope you kept your paella down. I don't know whether you picked up your WhatsApps.
No, I haven't.
No,
but I'll have a look. I'll have a look. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But the point being, the conversations that we've had is what platform, if we're going to change the world, and let's just take a step back. There's an awful lot of descriptive narrative about what's wrong with the world. The reality is, how can we change it? And we've identified, I think, as a group, that freedom of speech and curtailing the media, influencing people's opinions, is a fundamental plank. And the Daily Chaos gives people that platform. Now, I still haven't worked out how to use your forum yet, Ollie, because it's bloody complicated.
No, it's not. It's not
Facebook. That's the difference, isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a forum. It's not a social network. It's different. Because the thing with the social network, and we'll just do this bit briefly, yeah. It's a plug in a way, but it also it's important to explain, because the thing with the social network, apart from the fact that Nick Clegg or Zuckerzitz or whoever is telling you what you can and cannot see, and if they disagree with your politics, then they'll kick you off or they'll shadow ban you like they do me, for example, on there, and Piers and whoever basically they don't agree with.
Well, they sent me to prison. You're very lucky that you just.
They sent him to prison. They sent Rodders to prison for 6 weeks. I mean, it's incredible. Right, I'm not Facebook jail.
Just
genuine. Her Majesty's. Let me just finish. Let me just finish. So a social network, yeah. You've got your timeline. You put your story on. It goes below the parapet where it's no longer visible. That's it. It's forgotten. That's it. With a forum, because you've got search facilities, you've got tagging and all the rest of it. It is far, far more organised as a way to keep a compendium of information into the backstory, as well as the stories going on now, or the stories that should be in the news, for example. And so we've got all that opportunity for reference and for basically trying to seek the truth genuinely without Nick Clegg getting involved and saying, "I didn't agree with what you're saying," and blah, blah, all that. Yeah, Jay, sorry, go on, mate.
I'm just saying, I thought the same thing, because Twitter was shadow banning me. But that post that I told you about the other day that I did, tuberculosis, It's had 2,000 likes and 2,000 retweets.
Really?
It's probably
Tell
the
us,
most popular
tell us what
post I've ever
that
made.
tweet was. What was it again?
It was just basically from the WHO in 2018. It said tuberculosis is spread from person to person through the air. When people with lung TB cough, sneeze, or spit, they propel the TB germs into the air. A person needs to inhale only a few of those germs to become infected. So I said, tuberculosis killed 1.5 million in 2018. No masks, no lockdown, no economy destruction, no daily death count on MSM. Why? And that's all I put, and people have been retweeting that like mad.
Yeah,
2,000
it's curious, isn't it?
retweets, crazy.
You know,
That's
the
interesting
CDC.
because usually like that would be shadow banned. I mean, like that means that maybe I don't know. Maybe it's something they just overlooked, or maybe it's something that maybe there's some sort of relapse in terms of the kind of controls they're putting in place on Twitter. I don't know. I am to a certain degree, and
clearly not in the public interest to show. If we take a graphic version,
Yeah,
but,
probably agree with that. Yeah,
but the point being is, where do you draw the line? And
you draw the line when it's not about it's politics, because then you're not impartial, are you?
Or news.
Whereas,
the point is that news is impartial. Whatever event happens in the world is impartial. And why is it that we can't express our comments, good, bad, indifferent, depending on your point of view? How are these self-appointed censors not being challenged? And this is what I love about the daily chaos. And actually, I'm quite passionate about it, as you all know. Freedom of speech is essential, in actual fact, for democratic decision-making, and by which I mean for the voter to actually choose who should be in power. And Ollie, some of the very strong and violent stuff that I've sent you, because I called your bluff when you said you had a strong stomach for it.
Yes.
If we voted, when people voted 3 times for Tony Blair's government, it is the right, and I do believe, an obligation of the public to see what the consequences are.
Yes.
I'm just
because the kind of stuff, to be clear, the kind of stuff that you sent me is the kind of stuff, the reality, the harsh reality, which is quite violent of what's going on in this world. Some of it, it's not gratuitous. It's not gratuitous because it's some sort of sexual kick thing. It is gratuitous, but it's reality. And this is a debate actually. What does one put on the web, on say a forum like at dailychaos.news or anywhere else, and what does one cover up? Well, essentially censor, but in the overall interest, and that's a big question actually, because there is an argument. There is an argument to say that you should put everything out there. From the point, I mean, I'm not saying this, but I'm saying there's an argument to say that you should put everything out there because people need to realize some of the disgusting stuff that's going on in this world. Whereas the opposite end of the scale, for example, is where the BBC, for example, don't cover some of the terrible atrocities that have gone on off the back of illegal war, such as in Iraq, for example, and the mishandling of Afghanistan over 14 years or some ridiculous amount of time, and so on and so forth. It's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. Creating awareness versus, if you like, common decency or not offending people.
Ollie,
it's a difficult one.
Ollie, by putting this stuff out there, people ought to appreciate that they have a responsibility for their vote, and their vote is not a matter of just turning up to the polling booth, putting a tick in the box because the raving monster loony party are offering you free beer every Friday. But the government that you elect makes certain decisions on your behalf, which includes foreign policy. And those foreign policy decisions have very harsh realities. And to try and insulate yourself because it's distasteful to you or you don't have a stomach for it is irresponsible. You should not have the vote if you're not prepared to bear the responsibility of the government that you've elected. It's as simple as that in my view.
On a different note, I think you've lost your stream on Facebook.
What, me?
No, Ollie, I think your stream's gone off.
Oh, really? Oh, dear.
I always have all of them open just to see what the numbers are. And
Yeah.
this one,
No,
this one's
it
just
might be
plain
back. It might be back now, Jay. But we did get cut off momentarily. And I was just putting a message on YouTube about it. I think I had too many browser tabs open. I mean, I had about 40 or so with I don't know. I can't remember what the browser's called, Fly Monkey or something. But it's it was too many, and it was killing this machine. And I've closed those, and now
I've not heard that browser.
It's well, I'm thinking of Sea Monkey, aren't I? But it's
I use Brave. I don't know.
It's another one. Yeah, mate. I don't know. Anyway, it's supposed to be low on RAM. This browser that I was using, but I had quite a few tabs.
Right, a bare bones one.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit, gentlemen. What else is going on? I'm very curious. Boozy, you said, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
What's that?
This one is absolutely hilarious. In the basically, they've set up a new shop situation in New York, and the politician, and it's at City Hall. Now, just outside City Hall. Now, with all the politicians seeming to support the action, rather than even wait for anything, the NYPD walked off post and said, if you're not going to support us, we're not going to protect you.
Well, actually, it's not, Chris, it's not the first time. If you remember New York in Manhattan in 1982, which really was the depth of depravity and what have you, it was after, what was it, Mayor Koch, however you pronounce the name.
With a K.
And that's when the NYPD basically said, look, we're going on strike. And the I can't remember his name. He was the chief commissioner. He was threatened with criminal action because as a
Commissioner Gordon.
But that's bad mine, isn't it?
Well, the point being is it's not the first time that when you have public sector workers whose lives are at risk and they're not supported by the politicians, they go, you know what? If you're not going to support us, why are we putting our lives at risk? The one area where this does not apply is with Her Majesty's Armed Forces. The number of soldiers who did not agree with Afghanistan or with the invasion of Iraq, but they performed their duty come what may, and we're living with the aftermath now. But did they walk off the job? The answer is no. What can I say? If our politicians don't support people who put their lives at risk on behalf of the state or the community, do you know what? What are they going to do? What are we going to do about it? I mean, as a community, what should we do about it? We can complain, we can moan till the cows come home, but what are the positive action steps that we can devise on the daily chaos as an action plan for people to go, actually, that kind of makes sense? I mean, Chris, how would you get the NYPD back on the beat? And what would be the pressure points, using the jiu-jitsu move, politically speaking, to actually force the politicians to come to the table and make some sensible decisions?
I think this is actually quite an effective one, because if they've established a shop right outside City Hall, now if action is big in the New York autonomous zone happen much like they did in the Seattle one, that means that there's going to be numerous people killed. Now, if that ends up being some people in City Hall, that might
they don't like that. They
don't like it up.
That might actually get the politicians to realise what the police actually do to protect them, and that their support for these Marxist anarchist terrorists is not in their best interest.
Well, apparently no, they got rid of all the Chasters, didn't they? They got rid of the Chaz lot in Seattle.
They arrested 28
just in case.
people.
Just in case you didn't know, because if you follow the mainstream media, you wouldn't know, because they didn't even report on the fact that, hold on, Rodders, let me finish. Rodders, let me finish, please. Now I've forgotten. I don't know what. 3 weeks. Seattle, 6 blocks downtown, all the town hall, all of that. Central Seattle, East District, I think they call it. It's all been under Antifa stroke BLM stroke George Soros rule for the last 3 weeks. And I reckon probably people watching this show are aware, but you speak to the average person on the street, they wouldn't have a clue. What does that tell you? Seattle under siege, under insurrection for 3 weeks. And people in the Western world don't even know about it. But
and five shootings and one, was it 2 deaths or one? I can't remember.
At least 2, maybe 3. Count loads of rapes and all the. Hold on, Chris. Loads of rapes and all the rest of it. And anyway, Mayor Dunkin Donuts or whatever her name is, she decided that she had enough, even though she helped fund BLM, and even though she went and helped them plant some pot seeds in their new hippie garden in the insurrection area.
And then they robbed her. Then they robbed her house.
and now it's happening again in New York. So, but De Blasio is like Dunkin' Donuts, isn't he? He's another complete moron. He wants to defund the police in New York City by $1 billion bucks.
That's ridiculous, because they've just released all those prisoners from Rikers Island as well.
Yeah. Not just that. One of the statements from the Patrolmen's Association, which is kind of the New York union for the police, has actually, in response to the City Hall thing, they actually made a comment of, well, why should we protect those politicians when they are part of the problem, especially with them, in the case of the mayor, bringing up and raising terrorists as children.
Yeah, but don't they have private
referring to, obviously, de Blasio's daughter, who was arrested for Antifa
protests,
Molotov
terrorist
cocktail
activity.
Jay, I've got a quick question for you. With the Gizzer Lane charge sheet, which court has accepted the charges? Which jurisdiction? From which jurisdiction have the charges been issued?
Well, I was just going to mention that because I've seen a tweet from Zero Hedge saying that she's agreed to a bailed hearing in Manhattan.
Okay, so which would assume that in actual fact the charges have been issued, given that she's in custodial right now, is my guess, because if she has a bail hearing, it means that she's under lock and key.
Yep.
So the jurisdiction is the state of New York, stroke the city of New York, and if she gets shot, if it's anything to do with New Jersey jurisdiction, she's absolutely stuck.
It says United States District Court, Southern District of New York.
Yeah, this is where the old guy got booted out from just a few days ago when Trump put a new guy in to be the district attorney.
You're absolutely right.
Yep,
I tell you what, that's a very interesting observation, which means, Piers, you've got to do the sweepstake for us and make the spread bet book on how many days she's got left.
We'll do a poll on Daily Chaos.
While you were rebooting your machine, I threw in my bet and I said she'd last a week.
We'll put a poll up on the Daily Chaos website, won't we, Ollie?
Yeah, good idea.
I'll go 12 days.
Do it.
Because it would just be too long.
She's number one, isn't she? I mean, every rich bastard who ever went to that island and fiddled with little kids is going to be out for her blood.
Well, yeah, because she knows a lot more than Epstein, doesn't she? She knows everything.
She was managing it all.
Well,
exactly.
The whole thing.
But the Clintons actually have quite a good track record of success when it comes to bumping off or people mysteriously dying before they make it to court.
Yeah, they've got a body count from the 50s as far back as the 70s.
Yeah.
There is also something also interesting. This is a great news day.
I know
we've had we've had two people, one who surrendered himself in Maine, and another person who was arrested in a no-knock raid. A Jason Chandler, who was arrested for the organisation of the desecration of a federal monument, where he had climbed on top and was in possession of acid and chisels and was arranging all of that. But the thing is, when they did a no-knock raid, they found a plethora of Antifa material. So they've also stated that there's a potential that he's going to be have terrorism charges laid on him as well.
Oh God! Well, do you know what's the only way to deal with these damn people? I mean, I don't know when you read, but who was the Ethiopian leader who's just had a statue pulled apart in London?
Haile Selassie.
Selassie.
Haile Selassie.
Right.
Mango Lassie.
No, Anglo Lassie. No.
Haile Selassie.
Haile Selassie. Yeah.
Haile Selassie. Absolutely. And apparently the reason behind that is because some bloke has been shot in Ethiopia. So what happens? We've got these immigrants who take it out on us in London. We had nothing to do with the shooting of the student in Ethiopia. But tell you what, we're going to go and desecrate statues of cultural heritage in a foreign country in the capital city. I mean, this is nonsense.
That's the problem with globalism,
about
isn't it?
that, are they? I didn't know that. Right.
That's the problem with globalism. You bring people to the country and then they moan at you for something that you're not even responsible for.
Well, why are there no white jelly babies in a Bassett's packet of jelly babies? I think that's grossly racist.
I've never seen white jelly. Well, there's the white ones. There's black ones as well.
No, it's prejudicial against our culinary taste, and I love jelly babies.
In some of the knockoff ones there are, and they're lemon flavoured.
But let's.
That's called jaundice, Chris.
Let's move to another piece of news that I saw today.
Okay. I would like to read some comments. If that now I want to get through more than 3 comments, please, gentlemen.
Well, if you had the chat thing, you could have done it all in one go.
Before we get, I know. We're working out this new chat thing so that people on Facebook and on YouTube and on wherever else can come in and they can all chat together on dailychaos.news, because you know what, it makes life so much easier from the point of view of flicking around the different comments and all the rest of it.
You can even send Ollie a private message if you want to ask him a question.
You can do that. You can send each other private messages and all the rest of it. Right, okay, fine. Matt Waterhouse says, bigger crook than Epstein and Jizzy getting down with the bizzies. Another mysterious suicide in prison, says Harold Chapman. Next one up, HC. Who's HC? HC. Hillary Clinton. Matt Waterhouse says, Karen Frost, she can fly helicopters and captain subs. Well, apparently not low enough. And GM is doomed, Ghislaine Maxwell, says Matt Waterhouse. But who else? And he also says, I think 5 days. 5 days is Matt's bet on this. Stuart first says, free rudder from the bog. Free rudders from the bog. Kevin says Stuart first. Stuart Lamont. Hey, Stuart, by the way, I hope you can get into the site now.
Leave.
I know you had a problem. He's been locked in by his mother-in-law. His mother-in-law locks him in the bog.
For all you know, he could be started on the bog now.
Matt Waterhouse, paedophilia amongst the elites about to be exposed, ? Please, ! And Matt, I'm really praying it's all going to be released, says Lee Hollands. Mookie Pook, Sean Atwood said she's going to be up for multiple life sentences. And wow, this is really, really exciting, isn't it? I'm practically sliding off my chair here. Gerald Collins.
I couldn't believe that news when I saw it today. I thought, no, this can't be true. But
well,
then I realised,
it's taken. Go on, Piers. Go on.
Wait. The tweet says
basically hanging everybody dry. You know, I mean, that's what I want. I hope that she sings like an effing canary and basically dobs everybody in. I mean, like, Prince Andrew must be literally sitting on the crap.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Oh yeah, Piers.
Who's your bet?
Piers, Virginia Guthrie's talking again now.
Is she? She's getting over her streptococcal meningitis.
Well, yeah, but well, that seems to be inconsequential. But she's talking about Prince Andrew again now. There's going to be a documentary on BBC, I think.
I think she would. I think this will actually end up being that she sings like the proverbial canary, because, as I was mentioning about the thing is, these crimes, if there's multiple counts, it has the real possibility that she will face a death penalty for this. So they're either going to kill her, or they're going to, or she's going to be executed by the state. Therefore, these people like her, then she's not going to stay silent, because the thing is, she's damned. She's damned if she doesn't speak about them, and damned if she does.
Well,
so she probably wants to get. She wants to chuck as many people under the bus as possible, so she's not the only one killed.
Well, hang on a sec, Ollie. It comes back to something you said earlier. If I was Donald Trump, I would put her in a maximum security prison.
Yeah,
with no guards.
Surrounded by Navy SEALs. Because if I'm Donald Trump and I'm draining the swamp, I want her on the stand to testify.
Damn right. You don't want to bugger that up again after the Epstein
I'd put her in the White House bunker.
Hey?
I agree with you. So in actual fact,
stick her in the basement.
Card. She is the ace card. If you want to drain the swamp in terms of political corruption, the Clintons, because Bill was out there, 16 times?
26. 26 times he went on the Lolita Express.
But the point is that strategically, if you're advising Trump, if you're the Dominic Cummings, who is the Dominic Cummings equivalent to Trump?
It's a very good question. I don't know.
I mean, Dominic Cummings.
It's not Boris, is it?
He hasn't got one. He hasn't got one, has he? Because Trump, they're all such deep statists. I mean, this is the problem that he's had, isn't it? He's like, he is a political island.
Is it Pence? It's Pence, isn't it?
They should call Ghislaine Maxwell John Wick in the third instalment, because he's got a hitman in the country after him.
I didn't like the third one. I thought it was terrible.
I tell you what, I'm going to rearrange my bet. I bet you she's around. I put that she'll last about 360 days. Because if I'm Trump, I'm going to make bloody sure there is no suicide.
No, they'll put her in a maximum security prison with 2 inept guards and no CCTV.
Maybe Biden. Maybe Biden will get confused and ask her to be his running mate.
They'll make her a VP.
Ghislaine Maxwell. She sounds like game for a laugh. You know what I mean?
When you consider Ghislaine and Biden, you basically who is the worst person really? Because it's like you've got Biden's a dementia-ridden racist rapist, and then you've got Ghislaine Maxwell,
allegedly, Chris. Let's be fair.
Allegedly, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We've got to use
and then you've got Ghislaine Maxwell, who is allegedly
she pretty much definitely is.
Well, gents, did I send you that very brief joke of the drunk in Northern Ireland who's asked to tell a joke, and he says, "I'll tell you a joke. Well, it's quite true actually." He said, my dad said, if you ever want to be successful in life, never take no for an answer. He was a rotten dad, but a hell of a rapist.
Rodders, I've not had anything from you since the beefeater was punched out.
Oh gosh, we've got a lot of stuff to catch up on. I'll start whacking it out to you.
I'll get the vomit bags ready.
Right, a few more comments.
Please, Rodders, while you're in the restroom, please do not start knocking them out.
a few more comments.
You'll like this, Rodders. Some other news. You know, the
hold on. Before you do, Jay, hold that thought. Hold that. Please do. But before we go back to our general hilarity, a few more comments. Because we've got to involve this community more, yeah? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It'll be so crap on the comments. Mookie Puck.
I'm glad you're taking my advice.
Says, I don't know what she says actually. She's talking to Kenneth. Kenneth, by the way, is saying research Angel whatnot. I watched a couple of her videos last night, Kenneth. I want to get her on the show. Angel Wallace. I want to get her on the show. Please set it up. Kenneth, set it up. Set it up. Greetings from York, says Kenneth to Kat and Carlos. People are just talking to each other. Free John Alexander Patterson. Free Field McConnell. Free Melanie Shaw. Free Lynn Thea. Free David Noakes. Justice with Truth for Children, says Kenneth. You should come on the show. You really should come on the show, Kenneth.
Melanie
You
Shaw.
should get Angel on as well. Melanie Shaw, absolutely. Done a couple of shows about her. Mookie Puck, they've got to keep her alive. Ghislaine Maxwell. For God's sake, Q says there are no deals. So this will be interesting. Research Angel Wallace, says Kenneth, like a parrot every night, says that. Yes, get her on the show, please, sir. Tanis Pullen says Andrew Sphincter is twitching like a rabbit's nose.
Oh, Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew.
Good expression. I love that sort of analogy.
Right,
Andrew
Jay,
Sphincter
moving swiftly on.
That's brilliant. I love it.
We're gonna have to put that one on the put that on the forum, Tanis. We should do one for memes. A section for memes.
Yeah, you're right. Well, there is. There's a forum in
comments.
there for all the city stuff. Anyway, go on, mate. Jay, what else is going on?
I was saying,
is there a better story? Is there a better story?
Former porn star Jenna Jameson
Maybe there is. Right.
has been tweeting. Yeah, she was a porn star, yeah, but she's not. She's tweeting a video about Pornhub and it's child trafficking and videos about child abuse and saying don't watch it.
Is she the one that reckons that she had a thing with Trump and her lawyer?
That was Stormy Daniels. That was Stormy Daniels.
Oh, that was Stormy Daniels.
Stormy Daniels, who was also part of Nixium.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but no. Jenna Jameson was a porn star, but she's calling out.
She was one of my favourite porn stars. And you know what? The funny thing is, she was of the same genre, albeit she was a bit older. Can you remember the scandal in Pornland, West Hollywood, of Tracy Lord, who entered the porn industry when she was 15, and she lied about her age. She had a fake driving license, and again, as a young lad, at boarding school, she was one of my favourites. And of course, the porn industry was outraged because they all faced prison sentences because it's statutory rape. And the fact that she'd lied about her age, Peter North, a famous sort of male porn star who, in the 1980s was, that's where he made his fortune. But it is statutory rape. And the point being, I think that's bloody unfair. And actually, later in the show, I wanted to turn to sexual assault. What does it actually mean? Because again, a bit like Black Lives Matter, these bloody hashtag Me Too.
Hold on, don't change the subject. We'll come back to that. You're diverting. Jenna Jameson.
We'll go with the mainstream.
So Jenna Jameson, Jay. What is she trying? Hold on, Rudders.
Whoa, let's stop.
Let
Jenna Jameson.
Explain the story, please.
Jenna Jameson, former porn star, has been posting a video that's been going viral about Pornhub hosting videos of child abuse, child molestation, rape, that kind of thing, openly on the Pornhub website, and she's saying, don't watch it. Because
don't watch it or go watch it.
Don't watch it. Why would she, she's not really in that game anymore. She's not going to endorse it.
Well, she made millions of dollars by setting up her own production company, having started off as an actress. And I think I'm not saying this as a joke. This is not humorous. A lot of people who go into the porn industry come from broken homes, or either they are abused and groomed to become porn stars, or they are genuine nymphomaniacs. And it's
most likely the former. Most likely the former.
It is mostly the former, and it's tragic the number of them that end up committing suicide.
Yeah,
because they hit middle life. They might get married to another porn star, and does one really want to marry a porn star? The answer is no. So you marry another porn star, and the relationships fail, and there's a sense, I think, of self-hatred, because they feel that they have been abused and they've allowed it. And as you grow more mature and older, and frankly less attractive, your wares in the porn industry sort of wear off. And I think it's a tragic industry for those people who don't. Personally, I think if you want to do porn, you should be over the age of 30, where you've made a choice, and it's because you really want the sexual bit. I think the porn industry is absolutely horrible, and we ought to get Lord Faversham on the show, who was a porn producer, and he can give you chapter and verse in terms of where these women came from for his tongue-in-cheek productions and relish productions. And according to him, most of his performers actually were really into it. They wanted to do it. It was a choice. It wasn't a sense of, well, it's something I can do, and they've been led down the garden path to do it. And once you're in that, you're in a trap. You know, which guy wants to marry someone in a decent relationship who knows that she's been banged by 1,000 blokes, and you can download it on the web anytime you like? I mean, it's an absolutely tragic industry that I believe should be regulated. Personally,
I totally. You should not be able to access it as easily as we can online at the moment. I mean, it horrifies me what kids can look at these days. I mean, I remember, at the age of 12, 13, getting wind of some porn mags in a chicken coop about 2 miles down the road and getting on my bike with some mates down there on the off chance that these mags might be there. And sure enough, there they were. They were mouldy and damp from the leaking roof.
The pages all stuck together.
We still looked at them with great relish, thinking that we found gold.
This is a personal experience you're talking about, isn't it?
Well, it probably is, yeah. Like, whose experience wasn't that in the 80s?
I had an experience like that, yeah, finding some dodgy porn mags or whatever. I think I found my brother's as well, stuffed behind the airing cupboard, hot water tank thing.
Razzle and all them type
papers weren't all stuck together. Yeah.
I think porn's desensitized. I think the fact that it's freely available is desensitizing people.
It's just become more extreme. And let me be what used to be exceptional in the porn industry in the 1970s, and I'll be very explicit, was anal sex. That was an exceptional shoot for which the star would be paid quite a lot of money. Now it's an absolute requirement.
Not just that, they teach that to kids in school age 4 now.
Oh, man.
What?
Yeah, it's on the chart of the WHO
health. No, they don't teach that. What they do teach.
They do.
What they do say, because I've read the document, there's a WHO document. Get this, yeah? And it's an advisory to teachers on how to approach sex education at whatever age group. And they say for anything, and I'm not joking, from 0 to 4, that you should start talking to them about how your erogenous zone is exciting. And they actually use the word in this, you should teach them about masturbation. I'm not joking. Under 4s. In fact, more than under 4s. From the category is 0, i.e. literally just born, until 4. And the WHO reckons that teachers should be teaching kids about masturbation.
You don't think that's because they're trying to normalise paedophilia? Because
yes, I do. I think that's exactly what it's about.
You heard that news about the group of paedophile people who
they're trying to deprave humanity.
Yeah, they're setting up a new group called MAPS, which I said this in 2018. I think MAPS is called Minor Attracted Persons, and they're trying to latch on to the LGBT group.
Well, I tell you what,
they're trying to exactly. They're trying to give it sort of euphemistic terminology to sort of sort of basically try and they're trying to mainstream paedophilia, and the fact that the WHO should come up with such a document. I mean, it's the fact that the Council for Civil Liberties in yesteryear used to have PI, the Paedophile Information Exchange, which was
Harriet Harman, MP Harriet Harman.
Yeah,
exactly. They were literally talking about bringing down the age of consent to something under 10 or something. I mean, it was just obscene,
Single figures.
And yet But they gave
I
it a
think
platform.
actually it was something like 5. I can't remember now, but it was something like 5 peers they wanted to bring the age of consent down to.
Well, don't forget the great prophet Muhammad.
And Harriet
he married
Harman
Alia,
worked with
who was age 7, and they consummated their marriage when she was 9.
Well, yeah, that's one of the theories. Yeah, it's not written in stone. But you're right. I mean, I think that is the fundamental reason why we have such a problem with the abuse, Pakistani abuse of young white girls in the UK at the moment, because they all, think if it's good enough for Allah, it's good enough, for me.
Well, hang on a sec. If you look at arranged marriages in Pakistan and in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, etc., you can marry a girl of any age as long as the imam says it's okay, and it's at your discretion as the husband when you decide to consummate it. So you can go out, if you're a paedophile, you're a Jimmy Savile or a Gary Glitter, and you can marry an 8-year-old, and it's at your discretion when you choose to consummate it. I mean, it's just absolutely grotesque.
It is, and
yet we encourage these people to, in the words of my sentencing judge, Emma R. Buffnott, said, and blah, 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 this multicultural society that we're lucky enough to live in. Now, I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I don't feel lucky for her to live in a society which condones either Sharia law or the ability for some 50-year-old pervert to marry her and then rape her on her 9th birthday. I'm sorry, that for me, it's just, I'm taken to the streets with an AR-15.
What was Harriet Harman's argument to support Pi? It was that the kids don't feel it, or they're not emotionally scarred.
Well, there was a girl raped the other day. I think it was in India, and she was 9 or 10, and she died because of the internal bleeding and wounds that were inflicted. So Harriet Harman, frankly, if I was jailed for making
she was made acting Labour leader. Off the back of that, what she did, and her husband, because he was in on it too, both of them. I can't remember. I can never remember his name, but he's an MP too. Off the back of that, she was Labour said, "Oh, it doesn't matter about your Pi links. The fact that you were happy to work with people that wanted to bring the legal age of consent." I understand from Amanda Thompson here to 4, and I think that's right. They wanted to. They were lobbying for the government to bring down the legal age of consent of sex to 4. And she's working with them. And the Labour Party, they go, "Oh, you know what? She can be our acting Labour leader."
Oh, it was to start.
This is the kind of filth.
Ridiculous.
This is when Tim Fortescue said it, didn't he? Tim Fortescue said we would take these people. They were shagging little boys,
young boys,
raping little boys up.
Yeah, we've heard that so many times.
Not for a while.
But it needs to be reminded, Rodders. A lot of people don't know.
I don't think there's a more important thing that people can be reminded of than this is the way they oil the rails of democracy.
Yeah.
There's Tim Fortescue, former whip, the whip of the government that took us into Europe, by the way, that said we would say these guys that come in said I'm shagging a kid, and they would say that's all right, we'll cover it up for you, but you've got to vote with the government. In other words, this is the government. This is the government that took us into the EEC that became the EU. Yeah.
Well, look at the new Labour
consider
leader. And he's got a litany of crimes against. Basically he's led off so many paedophiles, and he's been involved with the Savile thing, as you all know, and have talked about before.
Who's that?
And he's been involved with the covering up all the rape gangs.
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer. Now he's the leader.
Oh, Keir Starmer, please.
The opposition leader. It's almost like you have to have covered up this kind of stuff in order to get elected.
This is why this Ghislaine Maxwell story is so important. Because there is just a chance, a modicum of a chance that things might change a little bit and that we might protect the innocence of our society. And if children can't have their childhood, then we are failing.
Piers, you remember...
really clutching at now, the Dems. They're now accusing... they're saying that the Russians were paying the Taliban, to take out American
people. Yeah, take out Americans in Iraq.
and this is obviously from a source that nobody's allowed to know about. Nobody's allowed to see the evidence, and obviously it's all top secret. But you've got to believe us, type of thing. So this is how desperate they're getting it. But of course, that story's going to get blown out of the water now because of Ghislaine.
And who's the source? John Bolton.
Oh no. I know a little bit about what's going on with this one. With this one, it's basically there was an intelligence source that was still being worked on, and the intelligence services did not give it much credence. They did not believe, though the intelligence agencies themselves do not on the initial look at this information, did not think it was actually credible intelligence. So what's actually happened is they've made that was the decision. This information then is leaked to the New York Times, and it all gets blown out. Oh, Trump was briefed on this, and now the intelligence agencies are going, no, he wasn't, because one, we're still looking at this and we're not completely sure about it, and two, at the moment, the time that this was released, we do not give this any credence. So we are actually looking at it and going, we're not sure this is even valid intelligence. So we're not going to brief the president on stuff that we don't think is actually got any validity whatsoever. So of course he wasn't briefed on it, because we think it's all a load of bollocks.
Well, Chris,
and
Actually, all over again.
I was privileged enough to have experienced some of the workings of government, because my father was a government minister in the House of Lords. He was in the Whip's office, so again in the House of Lords. And
we should do a séance. Rodders, we should do a séance with your dad.
We ought to do a séance to decide, okay, who's guilty. and he was also in Lord in Waiting to Her Majesty. Now, the point being is that when people say a politician was briefed, do you know how many boxes per day a government minister has to carry home and read?
Rodders, mate, I don't care. Jeffrey Dickens presented Leon Britton with a dossier of evidence of VIP and MP paedophilia. And that dossier was lost, and the copy of that dossier, which was at Dickens's house, Special Branch raided his house and confiscated it, and it too was lost. I think that in itself tells a tale. And I
don't
also,
think they're trying to cover it up,
let me finish. I would say, can we please stop talking over each other, gentlemen, on this show? And I would also say that it just beggars belief. If the nation's children don't come first, what the hell does?
Well, Ollie, funnily enough, we had the conversation the other night when what have we got to concede? How many concessions have we got to make in our society as British people, with British culture, before we say enough is enough? We've got to reform the judiciary. We've got to reform the type of politicians that stand as MPs. They've got to be held to account. How far has it got to go? We've had our children raped, and I view the children of Rotherham as our children, because they are British.
Damn right.
And we have a duty to protect them. How much further has it got to go before we take to the streets and say, enough? What will it do? What will it do for you, Ollie? For you to join up to a militia, and I mean this very seriously, and pick up a rifle and take to the streets to protect your front door? What will it take?
Well, you make a good point there, brothers, because I was going to mention to Piers before, because he follows Q, don't you, Piers? And you've gone muted. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes, I do. Sorry, I was just taking a piss, and I didn't want to get everybody to hear my flush. So.
Thank you.
Well, a lot of people are talking about why has Q not done nothing, and I think he's got a good point. And people have got to see what's going on.
That's exactly that was the point I was going to make earlier on. They're saying on Q that they're allowing a lot of these appalling things to happen in the States because they want people to witness the lengths that these people will go to in order to try and retain or obtain power.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Because if the Republicans were and Trump was supposed to go after the Democrats, it would look like to the Democrat side that they were trying to sabotage the party somehow. So they need to see the crimes and witness the crimes before they actually get punished for it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. I mean, so many people still need to be red-pilled. I mean, some people, the fact that people are still, they believe wholeheartedly in everything their government tells them. And, it's just extraordinary just how gullible people are. They don't realize just how badly they're being lied to on a daily basis.
Because, Piers, that they don't have to see the consequences of their government, which is the point that we made earlier. Yeah. If you're actually forced to see, your government's made a decision to go and invade Iraq. It's made a decision to go and kill kids in Afghanistan, support terrorist groups. And it's easy sitting in your middle-class suburban home and you think, well, the government, of course, they're trustworthy. But when you actually see it in very visceral terms, and when it comes to paedophilia, I don't think I think 0.001% of the population are perverts who, frankly, put them to one side. It is within the human psyche to condemn, and any government or politician that condones this type of behaviour, and the public are forced to see it, they can't ignore it. It's not put the kettle on, have a nice cup of tea and a biscuit, and is there much truth in it?
And watch the BBC.
Sorry?
And watch the BBC as well.
And watch the BBC.
6 o'clock news and then and you're informed.
Look,
you're informed by
Jen,
the 6 o'clock news.
Informed. I have watched the 6 o'clock news on the BBC, and now
I know what the news is. I watched it this afternoon at 6. It's telling me everything I need to know.
Yeah, that's what I get all the time.
We're running out. We're running out of time.
Absolutely spot on. But the point is,
look, we're running out.
Don't forget, we're having the dambusters, aren't we?
Look, this is the point. This is the point. We can't do everything, but I just read a very interesting comment, and I think that there is a little bit of something. I just got to extend this show by 5 minutes to get this comment out there because it puts a different complexion on events, and I don't think it's entirely unfair. And I think that I would like to hear your comments on this, gents, before we close the show. It's from I've Been Banned, who's actually Kerry Swan, if you're watching, Nick Clegg, because you should ban her for having a fake account. But she says the girl who was 17, she's talking about what's her name in Australia, that Epstein, Andrew had his thing with in the photo.
Guff, Virginia Roberts Guff.
Yes, exactly. The girl who was 17, says I've Been Banned, was warned by FBI she could have faced a second felony as she provided Epstein with 24 of her friends. If she was a few months older, she would have done. And she also says something else along the same lines, but I mean, which I can't find that comment now. But the bottom line is that what she is getting at with the comments that she's making, Ivor, I think, is that these girls are supplying other girls, and they are at an age when they should know better. And she's got a point, though. This isn't just down to Epstein and Maxwell, or if you like, Weinstein, or whatever either. It's also down to the fact these were women. They were young women. They were taken advantage of, maybe, but nonetheless, they had, in terms of our legal system, adult brains. I mean, what? People can join the army at 16 and have active service at 18. So is there not an argument to say actually?
Okay, Olly, you make a very
chuck
good
that
point.
around.
You
no, it's not my point. I'm just repeating it. Go, please.
No.
Your thoughts.
I'm coming to your point. Do you know what? What everyone in this group ought to look at is the trial of Heidi Fleiss, who became a trafficker of underage girls to the superstars of Hollywood. And a particular case in point, that, because she was a witness at a trial and she was subsequently done, was Victoria Sellers, Peter Sellers' daughter, who I've had the pleasure of meeting just before her trial. And, you know, she became a prostitute at the age of 16.
Did she? I didn't know that.
Heidi Fleiss explained the case. And, you know, Victoria is a shadow of her former self, and she's the first to admit it in interview. You know, I mean, she was absolutely stunningly beautiful. You know, when I met her in her mid-20s.
Look, don't get off the topic. We've only got a couple of minutes. If you want the Down Busters, do you know what I mean?
Oh no, wait. Let's finish on.
We need the Down.
Stop. Let's finish on a good note. Yeah, let's just finish on a good note. You know,
no, I've extended the show by 5 minutes. We will. We're going to play the Down Busters.
I'll finish on a good note.
I just want to see what people have to say.
Wait.
Shoe on the other foot.
Britain extends Hong Kong citizenship plan. Yeah, Boris is going to extend the Hong Kong citizenship. China's not happy about it, but if we bring 3 million people from Hong Kong to Britain, we'd see a revival.
They won't let that happen. The Chinese will lock them up. They won't.
Oh yeah. The Chinese will try and stop it. Yeah, but we're going to extend it.
They will. They'll turn Hong Kong into a giant prison camp.
That's why people are going to get out and come to Britain, and then we'll have
they need to get out quick.
They'll probably cancel.
Well, that's for another evening, Piers, because in actual fact, we have a lot of pressure that we can apply to China in terms of economic pressure. So it's like, you know what, we can introduce tariffs on a bunch of things that make our manufacturing industry domestically more competitive and would attract investment from other manufacturers. So it's over to you, you chinky chonkies. Either you only understand the power of the wallet, not justice, but the wallet is what's going to drive your diplomatic and foreign policy decisions. So, Jay, it's a very good point. And do you know what? I would sooner have 3 million Hong Kong Chinese who are hardworking. They're not criminals. And those who are criminals, they keep the crime to themselves. We've never had a problem in Chinatown.
Yep.
You know,
especially Hong Kong.
And particularly Hong Kong. So they're welcome on these shores. People from other climes, if you don't want to become British with the British culture, don't come here. Go back to your homeland or find some other place that you prefer. Don't try and change us. The Chinese communities in Britain, and name one village in Britain that does not have a Chinese takeaway or a Chinese restaurant. And are they ever inconvenient to the local villages? No. There has never been a protest march, Chinese lives matter, yellow lives
That's a
matter.
good point, actually. Yeah, I've never seen a Chinese march ever in Britain.
No,
because they are very, very happy to be here, because they're not living under that grossly oppressive regime. They're living in a relative free country.
And they appreciate British culture and British values. And that's it. We've never had a problem with them. It's the people from all the other parts of the bloody world who actually want to import their culture that they, ironically, try to escape from.
Yeah, well, you think the Muslims would actually be the worst, better off because they're away from an oppressive regime and they come to a democracy.
Jay, sorry, we have the Dam Busters. It's an anthem. You can't talk over that.
Yeah, good points, all.
Very fun show, Ollie.
Good. Please, you enjoyed it, and I hope you had a good poo.
Yeah, it didn't get too chaotic with 4 people at once.
It wasn't too bad actually. Old Boozy's gone. I've noticed that. He's left us to it. Look,
he's making dinner.
Rodders, do us a favour, mate. Get yourself a decent microphone. Get yourself, some acoustics, man. Buy a shed load of eggs. Buy yourself a few thousand eggs, and put all the egg boxes round the bloody bog.
No, the problem is you're using a laptop with a speaker. Get yourself a headset.
I'm just using my.
Yeah, you're okay, because you're not in an echoey room.
Oh, right,
that's right.
Sure.
Because he's got it all stacked up with porn mags all over, 4 walls. And Jay, would you please sort yourself out with an image? Because all I'm seeing on the screen is Jay.
You keep saying that. I don't know how to do it.
Well, look it up.
I mean, remember that time when VK came across and started putting men's dicks all over the screen? Yeah, that wasn't Zoom, was it?
Down Busters March.
Yep, that wasn't Zoom, was it?
Signing out.
I don't know how to do it. You show me how to do it and I'll do it.
That's Piers gone. Right, I don't know how to do it, mate. Look it up. Get a search engine open. You know how to do PHP code, and he doesn't know how to put an image up on Zoom.
I've got the Zoom client open. There's no option. You can change the name, but you can't change you can't put an image.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. What's the other track you wanted us to play, Rodders?
Ooh, Nimrod.
Nimrod. Oh, that's beautiful.
Edward Elgar.
Yeah. Do you think that's out of copyright? He copped it a while ago.
Of course
didn't
it
he?
is. Edward Elgar. I mean, yeah. All these things around copyright, it's just the performance. If it's
No.
If it's
It depends who plays it. Depends who plays it,
Escape.
doesn't it? Yeah. Depends who plays it. Right.
What about The Great Escape or The Bridge on the Rue Kwai?
Yeah. I don't know. They must be 50, 60 years old now. I suppose. I don't know.
Ollie, the whole point of the Daily Chaos is it's the British chat. As in the British culture and value chat. So, yeah, I didn't want to say something.
I said, Ollie, look, see, I can change the name.
Yeah, I'm just...
What's that? What did you say? The whole point of the Daily Chaos is that is that it's chaos, basically. It's absolute abject chaos.
There's always been chaos inside. I'm trying to help, but it just seems to keep reverting back to chaos.
It is, Jay. Yeah. You know what? I want to say a big cheers to everybody that got involved in the show tonight, particularly in the comments. Thank you so much. You're a very patient lot. Whilst we sort out the new comment system on dailychaos.news, which means that everybody can go there. And if they're, oh, by the way, people that were having problems registering on the site and getting into the chat on the site, you can now. You can. It all works. There was a problem with just a few browsers if you were using a mobile phone. Like Chrome and Brave and WebKit browser. Anyway, it's sorted. So, yeah, get there. That's the place to watch the show and do the comments because it's much easier. Everything's centralized. Plus, you know what? If you're watching this thing on Facebook, if you're supporting Facebook when you don't have to be, then you know what? I can't support that.
But we're not going to, Ollie.
It's like supporting globalist fascism. It's like saying, here, there's my wallet, and there's my front door. It's open. Do we like? The kitchen's over there. Take what you like. Not a problem. And if you want to put me in jail, if you want to shut me up, that's fine. Oh, it's fine. Yeah. Don't support globalist fascism.
Just don't read comments. Once we've got the comment system working in the main site, just don't read Facebook comments.
Exactly. Well, I've stopped anyway, pretty much, Jay. I'm still reading YouTube because at the moment we're embedding YouTube, but we're putting in a centralized comment system on dailychaos.news /show. You see the show there. You can comment there. You can even call in from there. You press a link and it puts you through via Zoom. All right. Okay. Look. See you Monday. 9:00 UK time. That's 4 p.m. Eastern.
Quick question for you, Ollie.
Mr. President,
when's our next
come on,
Billy bonus?
Tell us about, draining the swamp.
No, when is our next Billy bonus?
When the missus goes off on one of her yoga weekends. That's when the next Billy bonus is.
Not for a while, then, because we're on coronavirus lockdown.
Not in Spain.
Yeah, possibly so. You know what? I don't know now. I don't know. Oh, where is this thing? Oh, it's there. Right. Okay, I can finish the show. Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Thank you, Jay Carey. Thank you, Viscount St. David's. Thank you, Piers Garnham, who's buggered off. Thank you, Chris Boozy, who's buggered off. Thank you all for popping in and creating such a hectic show when I thought it was going to be a quiet show and I was going to be able to nod off. See you Monday.
You know what? Hectic is brilliant. That's what the show's about, Ollie.
It was a good show anyway. There's a lot of good news today.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Great news
interesting
day.
stuff.
Yeah.
Even more good news. They've just found out that bees have been dying eerily similar to coronavirus. So now it's starting to look like it's 5G. So, it's all coming out.
They've just got a cold or the flu or something, those bees, no?
But the bees.
Yeah.
No, they're dying of disease eerily similar to coronavirus, British scientists say. So, only a matter of time before they link the two together.
I tell you, we got to boycott the Chinese. Got to boycott them till they have an election. You know what I mean? Anyway, right. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Ciao. Here's to us. And bugger. Plutocracy.